All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to mock interview number 125, software engineering. My name is Albert. I'm the founder of Albert's List. We're a job search, side hustle, and AI skills organization helping you land your next job and become indispensable. In our mock interview series, we do live mock interviews featuring both technical and non-technical professionals. So wherever you are in this world, in this sphere of your career, there's probably a mock interview that we can help find, unless you're probably in the data analytics or DevOps or quantum mechanics space, which, I'm sure if you're at that rate, you probably have people trying to knock down your door. So the mock interview, it works like this, that it come from a technical perspective. We have Fong Lam here. He is a software engineering coach with stops at DoorDash, Walmart Labs, and now working in the Web3 space. So he's extremely experienced. And if you're somebody who's in a boot camp, you also have him as company as well, as he's been a very successful boot camp graduate who has transitioned into a very successful software engineering career. You can follow him on LinkedIn, and his LinkedIn is here. The way these mock interviews work is simple. Scott here has pulled up an IDE environment that he can use. Fong's got an exercise for him, and we'll be giving feedback all the way throughout. So without further ado, Fong, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Albert. Yeah, nice meeting everyone. As Albert intro, I'm a software engineer. Been working in the field for many years. Been doing tutoring for software engineering interview for the past uh, about 5 years or so. So that's kind of a long and short things about me. I've seen a lot of questions. I give out a lot of questions. And also, I'm trying to keep myself up to date with kind of what the industry sort of ask from people. So, yeah, so that's something that I hope to be able to give back, in this form of these mock interviews. And thanks a lot, Scott, for volunteering today for it. Yeah. Cool. So let's keep this brief. So yeah. Scott, are you I guess more or less you're familiar with something like a storage, right? Like a map or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So you should be able to get and set some values on it, right? So you set some values, you can set like an override, like if you set number zero to like some text and you set number zero to some other text, it should override, things like that, right? Pretty basic things. So with that said, I'm going to paste this in the chat, and you should be able to pull that up also. So this is what we are going to build today. Instead of a regular storage, we want to build it in a way that we can station commit the operation. So this is sort of what we are looking to be able to build. So yeah, so if you are just simply calling get or well, if you're simply calling set without calling stage first, it shouldn't return any, it shouldn't do anything. So pretty much you have to call staging. Then you set a few values. Then that until the if you notice that until the setting is until the storage is committed, you shouldn't be able to get any value from there. So that's sort of the layout of what we are trying to build this data structure. So yeah, feel free to ask questions. I will answer. And yep, that's more or less the prompt. Can you see the prompt?
Yeah, I can see the prompt there.
Yep.
So you've got
Yeah,
like a
you can
storage object.
you can post it in your environment too.
Okay,
Just
I'll
comment
just
it
copy
out.
it
Yeah.
in.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So is that the whole lot there? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably just
It's
comment
like
them out. Yeah, just
uh,
highlight all of them and comment them.
the everything's gone funny here. Uh,
You just
okay.
highlight all of
So
them
yeah,
and just do yeah. Okay.
yeah, I'll fix that up in a second. Okay.
You can use
Yeah, so
any
you've got,
languages you want. It doesn't
okay,
matter.
I've been doing quite a lot of JavaScript at the moment. So yeah. So all right. Okay, so you've got a storage and you said then before, so you didn't want to, all the formatting's everywhere here. So you didn't want to, is it invalid? Let me just fix it all up because it hasn't come through correctly. Just get rid of all these. Yeah. Okay. So you said that basically you can't access the storage until you've staged it and until you've committed it. Is that correct?
Mhm. Yep.
Yep. And here you've got, so you've set, okay, so you're setting an index essentially, and then you've got a value that you're setting it to.
Mhm.
And start here. And okay, so I didn't get, so when you said, so there's a start and a cancel, is that, what's the start imply in this instance?
If you can, so well, it's similar to before, right? So if I commit on line 19, then then if I get 0, it should return me new hello, right? Because I'm setting it on line 18. But I didn't commit it. I call it cancel. So
Okay,
it shouldn't commit anything within it.
okay, so well, okay, so you setting a 0 to index, you're staging, your, okay, so this is invalid. So if you set before you've staged, it's invalid. You're getting the 0 index. It hasn't been committed yet, so it hasn't got anything committed.
Mhm.
You're getting the 0 value, which would be the last one set up
Mhm.
here. So it'd be hello one. Yeah, okay. And the start and the cancel will revert it, will it? So it's set 0, the cancel. I still don't quite understand what the difference between the start. So is this like
Sorry.
a,
That's stage. My bad on that. Number 17 is storage not stage. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So
My bad.
is
Sorry
start
about
like a,
that.
is this like a transaction or something? So you've got like a
Yeah.
start and a cancel.
Yeah. Yeah. Number
And
17.
then,
Number 17 should be
sorry, number
stage.
17. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that should be stage. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
work out.
My bad. My bad.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So that should be stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just think of
then,
it as a transaction. That makes sense. Yeah.
okay, that's where I was getting confused there. Okay. So
Yeah.
you got stage and then cancel will, is it meant to be commit or cancel? Is that the,
Cancel because if you commit, then if you get 0, it should show you as new hello, right? But it
hmm,
didn't. It
okay.
reverted back to the last thing that it
Okay.
got
So
set.
cancel will actually revert. It's not going to just ignore it until it commit. It's actually going to
Mhm.
revert back to the previous values.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's start working on this one. So this storage, you want it to be a new class. I've been working on PHP for about 10 years. I just moved over to JavaScript probably about 3 to 6 months ago.
No, that's
So
fine.
if
Yeah.
my syntax is off a bit, it's
You
probably
might,
because of that.
if it helps, you should comment out all of the current code so that it
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
just comment out everything, even the init on the yeah, so that it
Oh, sorry.
cool.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have a class of storage. So you want get and set methods. So we'll just sort of do the methods. So at the moment we've got a stage, a commit, a set, a get,
Mhm.
and a cancel. So the cancel is going to put us into a bit of a different state. So we have to store a temporary value, and cancel will probably clear that temporary value until the commit happens. So I think uh, what I'd probably do is, yeah, so we have to have a stage and a commit. So I'm going to have sort of a temporary storage where if you haven't committed it, it doesn't actually get that value. When you commit it, it will override the permanent value. Um, and I think then cancel can just delete the temporary value so it can start again. Um, So we have a, could probably just set this up, could probably set this up as an array. Sorry, probably as an object. All right, so we'll start off here. So first of all, I'll have to have functions for get, set, stage, commit, and cancel. So I'll do function get.
You don't need to declare it as a function if it's a class.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just
okay, so, yeah, and okay. So for now, I'll set up the function names. Oops. Yeah. Sets. I'll do those names. So we got a get. Oh, I might actually set up this first. So I'll have a stage, and then I'll have a getter, a setter. I'll do a commit up here. We've got get, set, and a cancel function. Yep. Okay. And to have, so you've got an empty constructor. Okay, so we'll have to set a, so stage is empty array, empty function. There's no parameters. So you've got get. We'll have say an index. The set will have an index and a value. The cancel doesn't have any parameters. Okay, and up here, so we'll have a let's say could store it as an array. So I'll have an array called current state, and I'm doing something incorrectly here.
It's because you have
meant to be
the
set in.
calls. It's because you.
Oh, it is too. Sorry.
If you do that, then you can access with this dot. Yeah.
I probably should be doing it in the constructor, and then we have a say a temporary state. Am I spelling that wrong? Temporary state, and have another array. But these actually should be probably object. Okay, so then we have a stage. So we have to have say is staged equals to false. Oops, not that. False. Okay. So with the stage, can you only ever call stage once on the object? So once it's staged, it's a staged storage. Can you unstage it, or is it like?
If you unstage it, you can just call cancel, right?
Okay. So okay. So this is kind of a little bit. So once you commit the changes, does it then become unstaged, or is it?
When you commit it, it shows up in the get and in the getter.
Okay.
So however
it's not like it's not like a repository or something where you're like staging changes. Okay. So it's just you have to call stage.
You have to call stage to set anything.
Okay. So when we call stage, we'll say is staged is true.
I think you want to do this dot, or it's gonna.
Oh, it is too. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So we've got this dot. Okay. So that's fine. And yeah. Okay. So these ones, I think in JavaScript, this is actually a instance variable. I don't think these are object variables. I think it's got to be in the init. I can't remember what's the
you can put them in the constructor. You just type constructor and then call it.
Yeah, and then it's called storage. Is it, or is it just constructor?
You gotta do the call sign like a method. It's like and then yep.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was the. Okay, yeah, I'm coming from PHP, but it's. I think that's so that you don't actually have the name It's just a constructor.
Yeah, it automatically called that
Okay,
as
fair enough,
instantiation. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So we can just move this into here. Okay.
And you I think, yeah, you have to put them this, yeah.
Oh, you still have to put them.
No, that's
Uh,
correct. Yeah.
yeah.
It has to
Okay.
have this for all of them.
Okay. Yeah. So all right. So when I will do, okay, so we got current state and temporary state. So temporary state will be once we are setting, it'll be in the temporary state until we commit. And if we cancel, then it will be cleared out of the temporary state. That's the idea. Does that sound like a good approach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the current state is initialized to nothing. So essentially, like if I go to get something out of there, it will check the current state and not the temporary state. So when I do a get, and when I do a set, it'll set it to the temporary state, and then the commit will just move it to the current state, and then the cancel will get rid of the temporary state. That's the approach I think I'll take. Okay, so we'll do the setter first. So that's probably the easiest way to start here. So we'll just say this dot temporary state is equal to, and I could just probably spread the existing temporary state. Fine. And I can add the new value, which will be index at value.
Oh, I think your syntax is a little bit wrong there. You want to do like a bracket, like a square bracket for index and then colon value.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then remove the curly brace around that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's going to reference.
Yeah,
that will come back as
you put the new.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so that will come back as say a 0 or 1 or whatever, and then the value will be set. Yeah. That should be probably okay. So this will actually override the existing value. So if you've set 0 twice, it will spread it. So it'll make a copy, and then it will override the new value. So that should actually override and come up with the latest copy. The get will have to come back from the current state and not from the temporary state. So, and we'll have to check to see if it actually exists. So I can't remember what just comes back with invalid. So, that's setting. Okay, so we have to have another check on the set as well to make sure that it is currently staged. So on the set, we will say if this is not staged, then we will have to do.
You can just throw an error.
Okay.
Just throw it. Like throw new error.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with I think you said invalid, so I'll just put, oops, I've still got there's one many. Okay, so that will throw an error. So if it's not staged, it will just throw an error because it says you can't set it yet. Otherwise, it's going to set the value. When you do a get, what did you want? Oh, so you want to return a null? No, so that's staged. So
you can throw it too if you want, if it's not staged.
Okay, so you can.
I mean, if it's in the stage, then you want to throw it.
If it is staged,
because if you look, it's within the station commit. That's on line 53.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry, but you've got 53.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've also got this one as well. So you've said it's.
Oh yeah, okay, like when in the beginning, if there's no value, just you can undefine or no, doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, because you'll have to check if there's no value as well. So I guess if it's not staged, we can't get anything either. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I can just say if it's not staged or if it doesn't exist in the if it's not in the current state as well. Can I just throw an invalid for both of those, or do you want a
Yeah,
different error?
yeah. You can throw invalid.
Because I think down here it says null if it's not.
Yeah, it's fine if you think invalid is fine. You can throw.
Okay. Yeah, so I can say if it's not staged or it's not in the I think it's can I do in? I can't remember the I can't remember the syntax on it.
Square bracket. Square bracket.
Oh yeah, yeah, with the index, and that will be undefined. Should still throw the error. That will be undefined, I believe. If you go to do that, so
yeah, if it's undefined,
which will so that should still come up with
that.
I'm in the wrong.
If it's undefined, you want to nullable it, right? You can. Oh, that, yeah. If you want undefined, you gotta put the bang in front of it.
If it's not.
Right.
Oh, sorry, yeah. If it's not, okay. If it's not defined, yes, okay. So it's still going to throw the index. Otherwise, get will just return the where are we? This dot current state at index. We can just return that. So that will just return.
So one quick thing, this might trip you up a little bit because it's JavaScript. So right now, if your this.current state at index, if it equals like 0, it's still gonna be an invalid. So to make sure that it works for you, you want to do a different and undefined actually on line 21.
Yeah, okay. So for this, it will be if it's equal to undefined.
Like different, yeah, different or equal to like different than undefined, right? Yeah. I mean,
okay.
equal
saying,
undefined. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's saying if it's undefined, then we'll just throw the error. So if you've tried to access it, but there's nothing in there.
Because zero would still evaluate.
It will still evaluate as true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think I would probably, I can't remember the syntax, but I'd probably just check if that index was in the, because we're using an object, I can actually just check if the property is in there.
Object has own properties. That's the one.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, this one
property,
is fine.
This will actually work as well, I think. Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay, so I think now I'll just move on to the cancel. So with the cancel, we're essentially just saying that any of the values that we've currently staged will be thrown away. So what I can just do is just empty the temporary state, and that should just cancel it. So just make it equal to an empty object, or I can say new object, but I'll just say that should be fine. The object literal. So
that should work for you. Because you just
I think
set
so.
it to new.
And then with the commit, we're essentially just moving the temporary stage into the current stage, and then we're going to get rid of the temporary stage. So I'll just say this dot current state is equal to this dot temporary state, but that is pointing to an object. So I probably want to make a copy of it. So make a copy of the temporary. I think because it's got a pointer, if I then delete it, it's going to actually delete the current state if I just copy it. If I just reference it.
That should be fine. Yeah.
This one should be fine if I copy it, of course. But I think if I just referenced it, it would just be referencing the object pointer, I believe. So it's going to get rid of it. So this should work. And we've got to get a set.
You have a bug on line 17.
Which one? Sorry, the 17.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the 17? Sorry.
So what does line 17 do right now for you?
So this is going to spread the values that are in the temporary state into the current state. Oh, yeah, okay. So it's going to make a copy of the temporary state and override the current state. I think the only thing is, so if there is something already in the current state, you want to keep the old values as well?
Yes, of course, right? Because
Okay. Yeah, yeah, of
yeah.
course, yeah. So yeah, because we've got new changes, so we're setting. Yeah, okay. So I think I get what you're saying there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the current state. So we'll take a copy of the. So that will be equal to the current state. I think we have to. Not sure what it's we're going to have to spread that as well, I believe, because if okay, so we want to put the we want, can we make it equal to okay, so we're spreading that. Yeah, so that should well, this will take a copy of the current state and add a copy of the temporary state, and it'll override any new values in the temporary state. Yeah, I think is that what you were referring to? So you want
Yeah.
to keep the old values of the current state and add the new values, and that this is going to override the existing values. So if there was one set for 0, it's going to keep that value.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Um,
this should be correct. Okay.
yeah, I
Here's
think
the
that's
here's the next part of this. What if I need to make another method I call revert, and I can revert one stage back.
okay. You want to revert? Okay.
Mhm. I, I
Yeah.
I mean this code so far is correct for what we are having, right? So, but
Mhm.
now how would we implement revert for this? So say if I
Mhm.
stage the storage and then I commit it, and then now I say like, JK, I don't want that. I need to go back.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to essentially you want to keep a history of the previous states. Is that correct? So when you do a commit, you want to keep the old values that were in the history before you committed. Is that correct? So you want to go.
However you want to implement it.
Okay. Um, so you want to make a new method, is it, or so like go back or something like that, or
Yeah, revert, just call
revert?
it. Yeah,
Okay,
revert.
so we call it revert.
Mhm.
And did you want to have the amount of steps or just one step at a time? And did you
Good,
want to
good
store
question.
all of the history or
Good
do you want
question.
to just store just the last?
Okay. What if we can go back multiple steps? Then how would you store them?
Yeah, so if you want to go back multiple steps, it really depends, I guess. So did you want to store the forward state as well? So did you want to be able to go backwards and forwards, or did you want to just be able to go backwards because it will change the implementation, I guess?
Good question. What if, okay, let's do this. What if we can go back and go forward? Yeah,
I shouldn't have mentioned that. That's like the hardest. Okay.
it's
Um,
it's not too bad. There's an elegant way to handle it, but yeah.
mm, yeah.
Yeah, what if we can go
Um,
back and forward? How would
mhm.
we implement that?
Okay. Let me just think about this for a second. So, um, well, I think like the history will have to be stored in some sort of list. So, uh, it will have to have a essentially like uh, you'll have to have yeah like a list of the history. So I can store it in say like an array or something like that. And then I can just go back through and just store the copies of the history.
Okay,
So
so every time we commit, what are we doing? We save the last step. Oh, actually, whenever we commit, we put that in the history, or
we could
we
just add that on top of the history. Yeah.
okay.
If you want to be able to go back and forward, I think the most efficient, well, you could store it as two arrays, and you could move one from one array to the next. So you can sort of shift the forward history. So if you want to go forward, uh, you just pull the first item off the list and move it back to the history list. Um,
That's that's a good implementation. What kind of data structure is that you're gonna use toList to do it?
Um, if you want to pull from the start of it, the most efficient way is a DQ. I'm not sure what DQ is in JavaScript, but where you can pop it off the front of the list.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Because if you just keep using not slice the what's it called? It starts with S. If you just keep using the one on an array where you pull the front element, it's inefficient.
yeah. So what? Okay, so basically you're using like two stacks, pretty much, right? You just pop it back
Yeah,
and
you could
forth.
just use two stacks, and then or the other way, I guess, is you could use a pointer. So you could just have one array and just have a pointer that moves back and forward. That's might be a more simple approach than trying to.
Pointers get you into a lot of trouble.
Mm,
Here's my one of my advices. Try not to use pointers if you do
mhm,
it,
mhm.
because pointers can
Hmm.
get you because you have to manage it pretty carefully. Versus if two stacks is like, oh, well, the new stack, I'm just gonna put it to the other one. If I go
Yeah,
back, I'm just popping it back, right?
yeah. It's much more simple than trying to
Yeah,
maintain pointers, and then you have to maintain
yeah,
where the
because
end
yeah,
of
exactly.
the
Because then they
yeah.
call like revert 5 times and forward stuff, and then you gotta
Hmm.
check if it's out of bound and stuff. Versus if you use a stack, you
Yes.
just need to check like if the size, if the size stack size is
Hmm.
empty, then you know that you can't go anymore, right?
Yeah,
Versus yeah,
I think that's probably a more simple approach. Would just be to store a past history and a future history, like
yeah.
a yeah, and then your future history could essentially store the current state as the first. Yeah, I guess you have to
You're like
decide
the
whether.
top of the stack, right? So you go
Yeah.
back, you just pop that stack and you put into the
Hmm. Hmm.
right, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
if you
yeah,
go forward and you just scrap that and you just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. This
Yeah.
is more or less what like a web browser history does,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It just have a two stack where they pop back and forth.
Yep, yep.
Cool, cool. I mean, you can try to see how far you can go with this. Don't worry about
Okay,
finishing it. Yeah, just wanna
sure.
because it's a bunch of code in and of itself. So I just wanna see
Okay, let's see if we can get
how
there.
you
All
manage
right,
it.
so I'm just gonna have. Can we just put another function in now? So
Yeah, yeah. Just put the
I'm not
function.
gonna do it now, but we'll say go forward or something like that. That's a nice name. Okay, so first of all, I think like we have to instead of having a temporary state, we can probably just use the. Uh, we might still have a temporary state. Um, we probably still have to have a temporary state because it's not
Yeah.
committed yet.
Yeah, the temp
So
state is correct so that you can
mm,
handle that current, right? So I
yeah,
mean
so the
I would just do like just make like a two new stacks, right? Like one like
yeah,
passive,
let's
one
just
is current or something.
yeah, I just do like a past history,
Yeah.
which will be say an array and a future history, I guess. Let's store that as an array. Um, yeah, I think like because the array is not super efficient because you're going to be taking things off the front of the list. So you'd probably want to do it with a DQ, but I'm not sure what the DQ is in JavaScript actually.
You can just do like push and pop. It's
Hmm,
because
okay.
like you just pop and you push, it would just get to the end of the array anyway. It functions
Oh, okay.
actually the
Oh,
same.
yes. I will be popping because you'll be,
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of in the reverse order
Yeah,
of,
it's a reverse one. The other one
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking of like storing it
Yeah, yeah.
the,
In like Java, they
the
have
other
like
way.
yeah, they have, but it's fine. Yeah, just push
Okay,
and
so we can
pop.
just do it that way. Yeah. Okay. So the the push and pop, so mostly the pushes is going to be happening on the commit. So when we commit, we're going to be moving the existing current state back onto the past history. Um, the future history is going to be empty until we start moving backwards. So
I would just put the current state on one of them too. Like put the current state on the future history and the past state on the past, right? So if you need to go back, then
Okay.
you just move it over. Like pretty much the top stack of your future history is actually the current. I mean, the naming, right? But pretty
Yep.
much the top stack of your future history is actually
Okay. So
the current version of it, right?
yeah. Okay. So you essentially so the top one of future history is going to be your current state then. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
that way,
say
when you back and forth, you just pop it out, dump it into the current state, and then you don't have to worry
hmm,
about it.
and
Right?
you can just keep using
Mhm.
future state.
Yeah.
Uh,
Future state is actually current state, but
yeah. The only okay, I could potentially see some issues, but let's keep going. So
yeah.
all right, so we'll say the um, this is the commit. So this is existing commit. So now we'll say we'll move the okay, so we'll commit it. We're going to move the commit onto the future state. So I think we're going to get rid of. Have I lost you there?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, so we probably don't even need the current state anymore because we're going to use the last element of the future history as the current state now. I think we can just get rid of that, but we're going to have some issues down here. So the temporary state. So, all right, let's just start here. So when we're going to do that, so we're going to push it when you commit, you're going to push a new one to the future state. It doesn't, just think about this. So we've got the history, future history and past history. So the revert go, okay, so the revert is going to move one from the past history onto the future history. I'm just trying to think of like, right down. So
just
we're
pop it.
going, yeah, we're just going to pop the, okay, so now, so pop that. Okay. So this is going to be now, I'm just wondering if I keep the current state or move it, because I've got to move this onto the future history. So the future history dot push.
Okay, I see your confusion. Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
The when we revert back, we're going to take the
Pop, you got a coded. You haven't coded on line
which one,
25.
sorry?
On line 25 at the end,
Yep.
you need to call the function. Yeah, like pop needs to be.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it is too. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But what that's going to do is take it from
You should also check if it's empty too, because otherwise you're just gonna push like a bunch of undefined in there. So
yeah. Okay.
like
So
you can throw to it. You cannot go back.
yeah. So we'll just say just take the element out. So we'll say the last state is equal to that. But we have to check the size. Actually, it's probably easier. I can just check the size of the past history.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can just check if the last day is like undefined too. In JavaScript, you can do that. So,
Yeah, I guess it will just push back and undefine. It's probably, yeah, okay. I guess it's the same sort of, is greater than 0.
yeah.
Just get rid of that. So we're just saying if it has something in the past history, otherwise, I guess we can
just throw
leave it.
or you can throw. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. It depends on how you want to handle that one. I could just say, you know, I could just say no history.
Yeah.
I'll do like that. All right. So then okay. So when we go back, we push the past history onto the future history.
Yeah.
'Cause-
You should also replace the current with the past history part. So
yeah, I think what I could probably do is I don't even have to keep the current
yeah,
state
yeah. If
anymore.
you don't want that, you can just read it
Um,
from the top stack of the future
yeah,
history all the time
it's
too, right? Yeah.
it's probably easier just to say like have another function called
Yeah.
current state,
Yeah.
and then I can just replace that. So that will be
Just grab the last index.
yeah, it will be the future index. It's the last one. I think I can just do get -1.
Does that work? That's crazy.
I think it is. Yeah, it's in ES the latest one. I'm not sure. There's a
Okay.
function. I think it's on the get.
I have not seen that, but it doesn't complain. So
Yeah, it should actually. I can't remember if it's get. There's two functions that are quite similar, and one uses negative indexes to get the last one. But this is quite similar to like Python or something like that.
you have to return that too.
Yeah, so I'll have to return the last element,
Yeah.
which is the current state. So now, and this is going to return that. So I can actually just, it's going to return an object pointer to it. So I can just, essentially I can just take this. I don't even need that anymore.
You
So,
might want to make like, you probably need to make like a variable and then do it. Like on line 23, you probably want to do like const current state equal, this dot current state to call
yeah,
for.
I don't think I actually even have to use, I don't think I have to store current state anymore because I can just
Yeah, you
use
don't have to store it. Yeah.
the last one. And in here, I could probably do it. I'd have to do some sort of checks if it exists.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that I can't remember what that returns. I think it returns undefined. So with this line here, I actually don't need that. Oh no, I still need it. So I need to push, instead of this, I need to push it onto the
You don't have to do that if you just grab it out as a variable and then you set it because it's an object pointer, right? So like what I mean is on 25, if you do const current state equal this dot current state and you call it and then you set it, it should update the object for you.
But I think I can just get rid of current state altogether because because I can just use the last one of the future history.
But how are you gonna set that? That's what
so here I just push it. So I think I can just push that. And I could just push the current state, which is the last element, and the temporary state. So that will push. Oh, sorry, I have to spread it still.
This dot, you have to do this dot current state and call it.
Oh, it is too. It's a function. Sorry. It's on yeah.
But this one, you are just pushing in the temporary state after the current state. So if you want to do this, you need to wrap them together with the curly brace. Well, there is some problem with this too, is that if you commit, you are putting a new version.
This is true.
Yeah. So you would need to override.
I understand what you're saying. You're basically, because this is.
I mean, it is a new state. So what you do want is
it's a new object.
You want to do a curly brace outside, then it should work for you.
Yeah, so this is passing in a new object and it's copying the properties from the last future state, which is our current state, and then the temporary state, which is the new state that we've pushed.
That should work.
So I think now, so we've got a couple of things down here that we have to check. So this at index, so now this is not going to work because
you can just call it at and then index. That works for you too. So you do this dot current state, call it.
Oh yeah, I can too, of course, because this will
dot question. You can also do dot question mark after so like after the call, dot question mark right there. You'll be fine. Yep.
Without the index, that doesn't.
You have to index because that's how you get, right? Because current state will get you an object that you need
Oh,
to
yeah,
index.
cool.
I don't know why it's
I
complaining
don't,
right
I
here.
think yeah, I know what you mean. So this is
No,
checking if it's,
yeah,
I'm not
and
sure,
then
maybe because it's a function call.
it should be
Not,
you should be able to do dot question mark. I don't know why it's complaining
mm,
here though. Dot question
okay.
mark is the valid thing.
We'll assume that works for now. Yeah, okay.
Oh, actually, maybe the dot come after the question mark. Can you put the dot after it? Question
Yeah,
mark. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Yeah.
because this will check if it's defined by
Yeah.
null, I can't remember, and then only then will it run
Yeah.
that code. Otherwise, it will just return, I think, undefined
Yeah,
or
do
null.
that
Yeah,
so
okay.
it doesn't break. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So now the current state. So then if that, then we return the, instead of current state, it's now, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. So we can just
Yep.
convert it to a, yeah. So this will actually return the last element
Yep.
of that. Okay, so that should, so reverting pushes the, okay, but with the other, we're pushing the top state. Yeah, that should be okay. And then go forward should be the opposite way around.
Yep.
So we should, if you want to go forward, you'll have to move the future history. Where are we here? So we're moving and oh, this is, yeah, okay.
It's
So
exactly
then,
like revert, but like flip everything.
yeah, so we're going to push, go onto the, so we're going to push onto the past history. This is going forward. So we want to go forward. So we're going to have to take the last element of the future history and put it into the past history. So yeah, it's the opposite way around. So I can almost copy this code, but we want to switch the direction. So we say if the future history, it's going to be pretty much the opposite. We can just switch them around. So now we're saying, okay, so if you want to go forward, the future history has to have something to go forward to, but the future history is always going to have, like the future history is going to have the current state. So yeah, I guess if you want to go forward and you're on the last element,
Then you can't really go forward.
yeah,
Just
but
be
I'm not sure if zero is the right one here because because
if
one is valid, but then one is actually means that your
you're on the
current point is,
current one. Yeah, so
yeah,
maybe
so it's actually
one.
one
Yep.
because your current one is the first element of the future. So yeah, so we're saying if there's more than the current element and there's another one, then we can move forward. Otherwise, we're going to say no future history or something like that. And then we're going to say so we're moving, so we're popping the last one, which is the current value, and we're moving it to the past history. And by doing that, we're actually going to reset the last element on the future as well. So the last element on the future will be the forward history. Yeah. So that actually should work in that case, I think.
Yep, cool. I think
Yeah, I think that
we
should
are
be
about
okay.
at time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this should run. Maybe some issues here and there, but it should be small anyway, right? This
Yeah,
should
I
get you
think
the correct answer. Cool. That's
beautiful.
that's it.
Cool. We got there.
Yeah,
Great.
it's not too bad. It's yeah, it's not too bad. Cool,
All right,
Albert.
cool.
We
Any
look.
other so any feedback quickly before?
I think you do well. I mean, it shows you have done stuff before, more or less. But yeah, it's just some your unfamiliarity with like JavaScript weirdness. That
Mm,
I mean that part is whatever. Right. Most
yeah,
yeah, a lot of interviews they won't even care for you to run the code. Like if you do it right, generally they should be able to see. So
okay. Yeah. I've only been doing JavaScript for about 2 or 3 months, so I'm moving from Python, and originally I was using Turbo Delphi about
okay.
more than 10 years ago.
I mean, Python is a good language to interview with because
Yeah,
you worry less about syntaxes. Right? It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot
I've
easier.
been learning Python as well, but more recently React. So that's why I'm sort of like a little bit more familiar with JavaScript right this second. But yeah,
Cool.
beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott, for jumping in last minute. And any of those of you who are interested in doing a mock interview, you're more than welcome. Just reach out to me over the Eventbrite page and we'll get you slotted in. Got lots more events coming up, and so we hope to see you at those as well, including another software engineering interview next week. All right. Have a great rest of your Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're viewing this from, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Later, guys. Thanks a lot, Scott.
That's right. See you.